Alright, this is 7.1 day 2 on ratios and proportions. So just to review, an equation that states that two ratios are equal is called a proportion. That's whenever we did, like we were doing x over 7 is equal to 2 over 14, and then we were cross multiplying. So we're going to write a proportion and solve. Now these are word problems, so we have to actually set up the proportion. So number 1, 300 flights in 2 days is equivalent to x flights in 7 days. So we want to make sure that we have the same label on top and bottom. So let's go flights over days. So let's look at our first one. 300 flights in 2 days. So let's put 300 over 2 is equal to, and then we have x over 7, because it's 7 days. So that's what we're putting flights over days. Okay? And then we're going to cross multiply. So let's cross multiply this one. So 300 times 7 equal to 21,000, or 2,100, my bad, is equal to 2x. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 1,050 flights. Don't forget your label on these. Okay, so miles, 4 miles in 22 minutes, 8 miles in y minutes. So let's do miles over minutes. Okay, so the first one, we have 4 miles in 22 minutes. So 4 over 22 is equal to 8 miles in y minutes. Okay, so remember, our miles are going to stay on top. We had 4 and 8. Our minutes are going to stay on bottom. We had 22 and y. Then we are going to cross multiply. So 4y is equal to 176. Divide both sides by 4. Y equals 44 minutes. Alright, so a 15-acre field has a yield of 360 bushels of wheat. What yield can you expect for a 50-acre field? So let's do acres over bushels. Okay, so our first one said 15 acres for 36 bushels. So we're going to put the 18, or the 15 on top, my bad, over 360. Then it asked us what yield can be expected for 50-acre fields. So since 50 is the acres, that's going to go on top. And then we don't know how many bushels for 50 acres, so we're going to put an x down. Then we cross multiply. So 15x is equal to 18,000. Divide both sides by 15. X is equal to 1,200. Bushels. Alright, if 9 fully loaded trucks carry a total of 140,400 pounds, how many trucks are needed to carry 202,800 pounds? So what I'm going to do here is, let's do trucks over pounds. In our first one, we had 9 trucks per 140, 400 pounds. So we're doing trucks over pounds. That's going to be equal to, it asks us how many trucks to carry 202, 800 pounds. So our pounds are on the bottom, so we're going to put the pounds that we know on the bottom. And then we're solving for the number of trucks. And we will cross multiply. So 202, 800 times 9. It's a big number. 1,825,200. So 1,825,200 is equal to 140,400 x. Divide both sides. So x equals 13 trucks. Alright, if you can drive 125 miles on a 5-gallon can of gasoline, how far can you go if you have 1 gallon of gasoline? So let's do miles per gallon. So our first one is 125 miles on 5 gallons. So 125 over 5. How far can you go if you have 1 gallon? So they're asking us how far can you go, which would be miles, if you have 1 gallon of gasoline. Well, gallon goes on the bottom, so we're looking what it would be, how many miles we could go on the 1 gallon. So we're going to cross multiply here. 125 is equal to 5x. Divide both sides by 5. X equals 25 miles. And if you think of it, okay, so if I can go 125 miles on 5 gallons, and they're asking us how far we can go on with 1 gallon, it's going to be significantly less than this 125. So if you get like a huge number, you know that that can't be correct, because when we have 5 gallons, we are going 125 miles. So if we only have 1, well, we can't go more than that, because on 5 you can only go 125. Alright. 2 towns on a map are 3 inches apart. How far are they really if the scale of the map is 1 inch per 120 miles? So let's go inches over miles. So we know 1 inch is equivalent to 120 miles. So I'm going to go 1 over 120. Now over here it said it's 3 inches apart. Okay, and we're going to see how far it is. So we're going to go 3, since that's our inch. And then we're looking how many miles. Okay, so let's cross multiply this. So 1x is actually just x. 3 times 120 is 360, and that's our answer. Alright, so rates. Rate is a special ratio in which the two terms are in different units. Unit rate describes how many units of the first type of quantity correspond to 1 unit of the second type of quantity. So common ones that you will see a lot are miles per gallon, cost per item, miles per hour. So express each ratio as a unit rate. So first of all, we need to reduce. So we're going to divide. We're going to find the greatest common factor, which would be 3. So divide both by 3. So that reduces to 1 week. This reduces to $400. So $400 per week. You don't write 1 week, you just say per week. Okay, 60 miles in 30 minutes. So we can actually divide both by 30. So this would be 2 miles per minute, because this reduces all the way, and this reduces to 2. All right, 289 feet in 17 seconds. Well, I can divide both by 17. Okay, and this reduces to 17. So 17 feet per second. $200 on 10 gallons. Okay, so we're going to divide both by 10. So this would reduce to 20 miles per gallon. All right. So $28 in 4 hours. I'm going to divide both by 4. So this would be $7 per hour. 54 minutes to run 6 miles. Divide both by 6. So this would be 9 minutes per mile. Okay. What did we learn about today? We continued on with ratios and proportions.